I buried my husband on a Thursday afternoon. The sky was a pale gray, the kind that looks like it is holding back tears. The earth was soft from last night's rain, and my shoes sank a little with every step. I stood by his grave, my hands shaking, and I whispered the same dua over and over, Ya Allah, forgive him. Forgive me. I do not know if I was speaking to Allah or to the part of me that needed to forgive him too. The Imam spoke softly. People came and put their hands on my shoulder, one after the other. Sister Fatima, may Allah give you sabr. He was a good man. He helped so many. I nodded. My mouth was dry. My heart felt like an old door that would not close all the way. Then I saw a woman I did not know, standing a little apart from the crowd. She was in a plain black abaya, her face covered with a simple scarf, and she held a small boy's hand. The boy's fingers were tight around hers. When most people left, she did not come closer. She stepped near the head of the grave and placed a flower, one small white flower, on the fresh soil. She leaned forward and whispered something I could not hear. The boy looked at the name on the wooden marker and then at me. He had kind eyes, familiar eyes. A strange coldness ran through me. As I turned to leave, the woman came to me. Her voice was barely a voice. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Fatima. She held out a small key attached to a piece of faded blue ribbon. In her other hand, there was a folded note, old, worn, with the edges soft, like it had been opened many times. He asked me to give this to you, after. She put both into my palm, like she was returning something that had never really belonged to her. I could not breathe for a second. The paper was warm from her hand, and the key was small, like it opened a drawer or a box, not a door. My chest tightened. Somewhere inside the note, I could see the curve of the handwriting I had known for 40 years. My husband's name. The woman watched my face as if she was waiting for me to break. The boy let go of her hand and hid behind her dress. The world around us was quiet, no wind, no birds, just the low murmur of people walking back to the car park. The scent of wet soil, a trace of cologne from a man who had hugged me, and the sharpness of my own fear mixed in the air. I held the key and the note without opening them. I told myself, later. But I knew, even before I read that note, that the door it opened was not made of wood. It was a door inside my life, and once I went through, I could not go back. If this story touches your heart, please follow Voices of Fatima, like the video, and share it with someone who needs strength today. If a stranger handed you a key at your husband's funeral, would you open the door alone? Tell me in the comments. My name is Fatima. I am 64 years old. I have 2 children, Aisha and Bilal, and a small apartment that smells of cardamom and old books. Every morning, I wake up before Fajr, wash my face, and stand on my prayer mat with my hands raised. I ask Allah for 3 things: patience, a soft heart, and a clean ending. I never thought about clean endings until the day we washed my husband's body. I met Hassan when I was 21. He had a smile that reached his eyes and a way of speaking that made you feel like you were the only person in the room. Our marriage was arranged, yes, but there was kindness between us. We began in a small rented room above a tailor shop. The walls were thin, and at night we could hear the hum of the street like a gentle machine. I learned to cook what he liked, to laugh when he made jokes, to fold his shirts the way his mother used to fold them. In those early days, he would bring me little things: a new scarf, a wooden spoon from the market, a box of biscuits with a picture of a castle on it. "For my queen," he would say, and I would blush. We were not rich. Hassan worked long hours in a grocery store, and I took in hemming and mending. The smell of starch and fabric stayed in my fingers, and the steady snip-snips of my scissors counted the time. We said Bismillah before eating, Alhamdulillah after, and made dua on the windowsill when it rained. On Fridays, we would walk to the masjid together. He liked to talk to everyone. I liked to stand in the quiet corner near the back and listen to the khutbah like it was medicine. When Aisha was born, Hassan cried. He held her with such softness, and for a long time I thought that softness would be enough to keep our home safe forever. When Bilal came 2 years later, the house became busy with toys and spilled juice and the sound of laughter. There were times when we had only lentils and onions for dinner, but we had a roof and our health, and I would sit on the floor with both children in my lap and kiss their warm heads. Those were simple, sweet days. Sometimes, in the late afternoon, the sunlight would come through our one small window and fall on the prayer beads that hung on a nail. The beads would glow, little moons, and I would feel a peace that wrapped around me like a shawl. I remember making chai with ginger and cardamom, the steam curling up, Hassan coming home and dropping his keys in the blue dish by the door. He would say, "Fatima, your tea could wake the dead," and he would drink it fast and ask for another cup. He liked feeling important. He liked to be admired. He was a man who liked control too. In the beginning, it felt like care. "Don't lift that, my love. Your back will hurt. Wear the other scarf. It suits you more." Later, after the children, it turned into rules about money and rules about my time. "Why are you buying another pan? This one is fine. You don't need to visit Salma every week." Salma was my friend from the next building, a kind woman with quick eyes. She used to say, "Fatima, your heart is a deep well." Maybe it was. Maybe that is why I stored so much inside it. When Hassan opened his own small shop, everything changed. He was proud, and I was proud for him. We painted a sign together, blue letters on a white board, Hassan's Food and Home. He stood in front of the door on the first morning like a man standing on a ship, ready to sail. He started working later. He said it was for us, for the children, for a better future. I believed him. Trust is a soft blanket you do not want to pull away, even when you know it is hiding something broken. I remember the first time I felt a strange weight in my belly, a sign of something wrong. Hassan came home after midnight, the air cold around him, a new smell of cologne on his shirt, not mine. He laughed when I asked, "Fatima, I had a delivery run. The boys sprayed each other with tester perfumes like children." "Don't start." I felt small. I told myself, "Sabr." I made tea and put out bread and cheese and sat with him while he ate, even though every bite sounded like a clock ticking. We had a little box I kept at the back of my wardrobe. Inside were my old gold bangles, my dowry jewelry from my mother, and a few small envelopes with our savings. I would open it sometimes at night, count the money, and touch the bangles like they were the hands of my past blessing me. One night, Hassan asked to borrow from the box. "Just for a few weeks," he said. "A supplier needs early payment, and I can get a discount." I gave it. Weeks turned into months. I asked once, softly. He put his hand on my shoulder, heavy. "Do you think I would take your money? Don't insult me." I felt shame for even asking, though nothing about it was shameful. He had 2 friends he started to spend time with, Farid and Jamal. They were louder than him, too loud. Sometimes they would come over, slap their hands on the table, and talk about business and deals and the men's world. I served tea and nuts, and when I left the room, their voices grew sharper. One evening, I heard Jamal say, "Your wife is too soft. Women need to be kept in line. They spend and spend." I waited in the hallway and made dua for my heart not to harden. When they left, I said to Hassan, "I don't like how they talk." He sighed. Fatima, these are my connections, don't make drama. The years moved. Aisha grew into a quiet, clever girl who loved books and the taste of honey on warm bread. Bilal became tall and quick to smile, but quick to anger too, a mirror of his father in some lights. He adored his baba. He would sit in the shop, watch Hassan count money, and dream of owning something big. I watched them and asked Allah to make my children gentle and brave, 2 wings that could carry them over pain. On our 30th anniversary, I baked a cake and decorated it with almonds. Hassan forgot. He came home late, talking on his phone, and went straight to sleep. I sat in the kitchen under the yellow light and ate a slice by myself. It tasted like butter and like the dull ache that comes after a long day of walking. In the morning, he said, "Oh, yesterday, sorry." The supplier was shouting. He kissed my head and said, "You know I love you." I smiled. That smile felt like a bandage over a deep cut. There were nights when Hassan raised his voice. Small mistakes became big reports. The sauce was too salty, the shirt was not ironed right, the electricity bill was higher. He never hit me, but words can feel like knocks on the same place until it bruises. When I cried, he said, "Why do you cry? Are you a child?" When I was silent, he said, "Why are you stone?" I learned to store my emotions the way I stored rice, neat and quiet, on a high shelf. Still, there were good days, and I hold them like small stones in my pocket. There was a day after Eid when we took the children to the park, and Hassan raced Bilal on the grass and let Aisha decorate his hand with henna like a flower. There was a night in Ramadan when the power went out, and we sat by candlelight reciting Quran softly, our voices weaving around the room like light itself. I tell you this because I do not want to lie. There was love in our house. It was not always kind love, but it was love. The first time a debt letter came in my name, I thought it was a mistake. The envelope was thick and official. The words on it felt like stones in my mouth when I read them. I took it to Hassan. He laughed lightly. "You women get scared by paper. It's a mix-up. I'll fix it." He took the letter from me and put it in his bag. I watched that bag for weeks as if it would tell me a story. Later, I asked about it again. "Handled," he said, looking at his phone. "Worry kills the heart, Fatima. Don't worry." My mother used to say, "When you feel the ground move, hold your prayer." Rug. I tried. I tried to be the quiet center even when my mind was a spinning wheel. I made it to cough in the corner of our bedroom during the last 10 nights of Ramadan. I asked Allah to steady me. I asked for my husband's heart to soften. I asked for truth, if it would not break me. Little signs came, like ants before rain. A receipt in his pocket from a store across town I had never heard of. A second phone I found under a pile of socks. He said it was for business. I believed, then I doubted. Then I felt ashamed for doubting. The second phone disappeared, then reappeared. I told myself, do not become that wife who searches. Do not lose your dignity. I let the river inside me flow without showing on my face. I got up for Fajr. I cooked, I sewed. I smiled at the neighbors. I sent my children little messages. Drink water. Take a jacket. I kept life moving. The day Hassan died, it was quiet in the morning. I had made lentil soup and left it on the stove. I called him at noon. He did not answer. Farid called me back from Hassan's phone. His voice was not his usual loud voice. "Fatima, come to the shop. The world after that is a blur." The ambulance, the oxygen mask, the paramedic with kind eyes saying, "I'm sorry." My scarf felt too tight. The walls felt too close. I watched Hassan's chest become still. I whispered the Shahada with him, even though he could not hear me anymore. They gave me his ring and his watch and the thin leather wallet he always carried. Our community is kind when someone dies. People arrived like waves. They brought food pots of rice, trays of meat, clouds of bread, and they brought their prayers. Aisha took my hand. Bilal stood tall and straight, like men are taught to be, and his jaw worked like he was chewing on anger that would not go down. We bathed Hassan with respect, turning him gently. I washed his hands the way I had washed them 1,000 times when he came home from work. I cried into my brak sleeve. Then I wiped my tears and kept moving. There is a way grief can make you organized. It gives you tasks so you do not drown. And then the janazah, the prayer, the burial, the cold air on my face, the smell of soil, the low hum of the world continuing. And the woman I did not know, with a small boy holding her hand, giving me a key tied to a faded blue ribbon and a note in my husband's handwriting. To say my heart dropped is too big. It did not drop. It paused, like a bird that holds itself in the air, because it is deciding if it should land or fly. I put the key and the note in my bag, next to my tasbih, and I did not open them. Not yet. When I reached home that evening, the apartment was full of people, but it still felt empty. Someone had made chai. It tasted like someone else's house. I went into our bedroom and closed the door. I took out the note and the key and placed them on the bedspread. I looked at them the way you look at a sleeping child you love and fear, might wake up crying. The note had my name on it, for Fatima. I touched the letters like I was touching his face. Then I put both items back in my bag. Not yet, I told myself. Not yet. I needed one more night of not knowing. In the quiet of the night, after everyone left, I sat on my prayer mat. The room was dark, and the streetlight drew a thin line of gold on the wall. I raised my hands. Ya Allah, you know all things. If this key opens pain, give me strength. If it opens truth, give me peace. And if it opens a test, give me sabr. My hands trembled when I said Amin. The morning after the janazah, I woke before the adhan. The apartment was a bowl of quiet. I washed my face and prayed Fajr, slow and careful, as if the prayer itself could hold my hands. After I said Salam, I sat still. The key and the note were on the small table by the window. The blue ribbon looked too soft for what it was carrying. I whispered Bismillah and opened the note. Hassan's handwriting was there, strong and uneven. It had always been that way. He never wrote slowly. He wrote like he lived in a rush, as if time was always chasing him. Fatima, the note began. If you are reading this, it means I have left this world. I do not want to hurt you. I know I already did. Forgive me if you can. This key is for a box at Citibank. Box 213. Go to the branch on Barrow Road, tell them my name, and show them this note. Inside, you will find what I could not say. Please, do not go alone, but I know you. You will go alone anyway. Take this as a witness. I did not hate you. I feared the truth. I read it again. My heart burned and cooled and burned again. There was no love word in that note. No, my love, no, my dear, just my name. It hurt, and still, it was something. The key dug into my palm as I held it too tight. I put on my coat and my simple black scarf. I wore my old shoes. Outside, the air was thin and cold. I decided not to wake anyone. The house, for 1 hour, could belong to silence. At the bank, the guard opened the door with a small nod. There is a way eyes turn soft when someone knows you are carrying grief. The teller was a young woman with a gold name tag. She said, "Can I help you?" I showed her the note. I showed her the key. My voice surprised me. It was steady. I am here about a safety deposit box, 213. It belongs to my husband, Hassan. She read the note. Her eyes flicked to my face. "I am so sorry for your loss," she said. "Please wait a moment." She went to speak to a manager, an older man, with a neat beard and a tie that was too tight. He came to me and asked to see my ID. He asked me to sign a form. Everything is paper and signatures. Everything in this world needs proof, even when your heart is proof enough. They took me to a small room with a table and a chair. The man brought the box, long and metal, and placed it on the table like a coffin for secrets. "Take your time, ma'am," he said, and then he left. I stared at the box for a long breath. I could hear my heartbeat. I could hear my mother's voice in my head. "Say Bismillah before opening anything you fear." I did. The key slid in and turned with a soft click. Inside, there were envelopes, thick and thin, and a small blue tin. My breath caught. The tin had a little picture of a bird on it, a swallow. We had a tin like that when we first married. It used to hold buttons. My hands shook. I took the top envelope first. On it, in Hassan's handwriting, "For Fatima, please read first." I opened it. Inside was a letter, several pages. The first line made my stomach drop. "I married again. Her name is Noura. It was a nikah with 2 witnesses. It has been 7 years. We have a son. His name is Omar." The walls of the room seemed to bend. For a second, I thought I was going to be sick. I held the table. I closed my eyes and opened them again. The letters did not change. My husband, the man I fed and washed and prayed beside, had built another home while standing in mine. It did not matter that I had suspected. Knowing is different. Knowing is a knife that slides in clean. The letter went on. I told myself I did it right, because it was a proper nikah, because I did not touch what was haram. But I hid it like a thief. I lied to you. I lied to Allah with my excuses. I hurt you. I told myself I would tell you when things calmed down. Things never calmed down. I kept going. I put the letter down. I looked at the blue tin. I opened it. Inside were my bangles, my gold, bangles from my mother, but only 3, not 5. There was a small note. "I will return the rest soon." My breath left me in a sound I did not know I could make. He had sold my gold and promised the void he would return it. I lifted a bangle and pressed it to my cheek. It was cold. It smelled like metal and like my wedding day. I could hear my mother laughing. "You are beautiful." And I could see Hassan holding my hand in a small room with thin walls. I put the bangle back and picked up another envelope. "Documents," it said. Inside there were copies. A marriage certificate with Noura's name, simple, stamped. Omar's birth certificate, rent agreements for a small flat in River Lane, and my throat-closed loan papers with my signature. But it was not my handwriting. The lines were wrong. The curves were wrong. He had made me a ghost on paper. I felt the blood in my head loud. I sat back and stared at the ceiling. "Ya Allah," I whispered. "You are the knower of all. You see me, you see him, you see us all." I cried quietly, the kind of crying that does not ask for anyone to hear it. Tears fell on the bank papers, and I wiped them fast. I did not want to leave my sadness on his secrets. Another envelope, for the children. Inside were 2 letters, one with Aisha, one with Bilal. I did not open them. I could not yet. My fingers shook when they touched Bilal's name. I knew what that letter would do to my son. His father was a pillar he had leaned on even when that pillar was cracked. I did not want to see that crack widen, written in ink. At the bottom of the box, there was a flash drive taped to a card. "Give this to the police if Farid or Jamal threaten you," it said. "It is the real ledger." My heart went cold. The world shuffled again. Farid and Jamal. the men who called themselves his friends, the men who sat at my table and ate almonds with loud mouths. I remembered the night their voices grew sharp when I left the room. "You need to do it, Hassan," Jamal had said. "Everyone does it. Insurance is a game." I had not understood then. Now I did. I hated that I understood. There was a bitterness on my tongue, like old tea. The last thing in the box was a small photo of me when I was 25, holding Aisha as a baby. I did not know Hassan had this photo. I looked so young, my eyes open like windows. In the corner of the photo, he had written, "My beginning." I touched my face in that picture and cried again, softer, like someone making wudu. The bank man knocked gently. "Ma'am, do you need more time?" I took a breath. 5 minutes, I said. He nodded and left. I gathered the papers back, but I kept the letters for Aisha and Bilal, and the flash drive, and the blue tin. I slid the rest into the box. I looked at the key in my hand. It had opened more than a box. It had opened a part of my life I had not wanted to see. When I left the bank, the sun had climbed a little. The street smelled of bread from the bakery and cold air. I walked slowly. Every step felt like it belonged to a new person, a woman who had to carry 2 marriages on her back. At home, Aisha was in the kitchen, making eggs. She looked tired and gentle, like always. "Mama, where did you go?" she asked. I put the bag on a chair. "To the bank," I said. "I needed to check something." She looked at my face and did not ask more. Aisha always knew when to leave a door closed. I went to the bedroom and placed the blue tin on the bed. I opened one of the letters, the one that said, "Aisha." The words were not long. He wrote that he was proud of her mind. He wrote that he wished he had been softer with her. He wrote that he was sorry for forgetting birthdays and for calling her too bookish. He wrote that he trusted her to take care of me. I folded it and held it to my chest. Then I opened Bilal's letter. This one was longer. He told Bilal to be a man, to run the shop, to be strong. He apologized for shouting when he made small mistakes. He wrote, "Do not let anyone disrespect your father's name." There was no mention of Noura or Omar. There was no mention of a second marriage. He left me to open that door. By late morning, the doorbell rang. When I opened it, Farid and Jamal were there. Farid's smile was small and crooked. Jamal's mouth had no smile at all. "Assalamu alaikum, sister," Farid said. "We came to check on you. How are you?" His eyes slid past me into the house. He was measuring things with his look. "Alaikum salam," I said. "We are managing." "Alhamdulillah." Jamal cleared his throat. "Sister," he said, "I will be direct. Hassan had some things to settle. He owed some money. We have an agreement. The shop inventory. We need to move some of it today to cover costs." My chest tightened. "The shop inventory is for the shop," I said. "We need to do this properly. There will be an accountability, debts, and then inheritance. Not like thieves in the afternoon." Jamal's jaw moved. "No one is a thief," he said. "Hassan was a man. He took risks. We helped him. He promised certain things. We need to collect what is ours before other people come." I stood straighter. It is strange. Sometimes grief makes you soft like clay, and sometimes it makes you a mountain. "There will be a proper count," I said. "I will call the imam. I will call a lawyer. Not today. You will not take anything today." Farid raised his hands, friendly, fake. "Sister, calm down," he said, as if I was the one with noise in my mouth. "We are only trying to help." "Help by leaving," I said quietly. "Come back when we have a meeting with witnesses." I looked directly at Jamal. "And do not come here without calling again." For a second, I thought Jamal would push. He looked at me the way a dog looks at a fence, measuring if it can jump. Then he softened his face. "We will call," he said. "Our condolences again, Sister Fatima." They left. Aisha came to the hallway. "Mama?" "Do not worry," I said, though my heart was a drum. "Please call Imam Karim. Ask him to come tomorrow. And call your Uncle Saeed. Tell him we need his advice." I am not a woman who enjoys calling for help, but there are times life is too big for one pair of hands. In the afternoon, my phone buzzed with a number I did not recognize. I answered. It was the woman from the cemetery. "Assalamu alaikum," she said, her voice small. "This is Noura." I looked at the wall. The paint near the light switch was faded from years of hands. "Alaikum salam," I said. I read the letter. She was quiet for a breath. "Can I see you?" she asked. "Not to ask for anything, only to talk. I do not want to be a ghost." I looked at my own hands. They were my mother's hands now, thin, lined, working even when resting. "Come after Asr," I said. "We will speak." Noura came alone. No boy. She sat on the edge of the chair like she was standing while sitting. Her scarf was simple, her face bare. She had kind eyes. I hated her kindness for a moment. Then I realized I was hating a mirror that did not deserve it. "I did not marry him to hurt you," she began, and then stopped. "That sounds like a lie, even if it is true. I was alone. He was kind at first. He was generous. He said, 'I will make it right. I will tell Fatima when time is right.' The time never came. I asked so many times. He would become angry. He would walk out. Some nights, he would bang the door when he left. Omar would cry. I would hold him and tell him, 'Baba is tired.' 'How long?' I asked. My voice came out calm. It surprised me. 7 years, she said. I have his Nika paper. She opened her bag and placed a folded document on the table. It matched the copy from the bank. He paid our rent until last year. Then things changed. He started to be late. He started to be harsh. He said business was bad. He said his friends were watching him. He said I must not call him during the day. Some weeks he did not come at all. I thought, maybe you and he. Maybe he was returning to you fully. I wanted to leave. I told him. He cried. He said, "Please, Noura, be patient. I will fix this. I will make a will. I will set money for you and Omar." She laughed then, a sad, small sound. Now I understand that men make promises to protect the picture they have of themselves. That picture eats everything. I stared at the table. The wood had a thin scratch across it, like a white line. Did he ever? I started and did not finish. I felt like a child half speaking. She looked at her hands. There were faint marks on her wrist, small and old. Sometimes he grabbed my arm too hard, she said softly. Sometimes his words were bruises. But he did not break me. I will not say he was a monster. He was a man fighting himself. He did not win. I looked up. Our eyes met. 2 women, 2 lives tied by one rope. And the boy? I asked. Omar? He is 6, she said. He likes cars and almonds. He thinks the moon follows him when we walk at night. He has your husband's eyes. Her voice shook. I am not here to take anything. I have a small job at a school. We are not hungry. But I do not want to live in shadows. I do not want my son to grow seeing me hide. I thought of my son, Bilal, and how he loved his father like he was the sun. I thought of the boy at the graveside and his hand holding his mother's skirt. I closed my eyes for a breath. He is innocent, I said. My voice cracked on the last word. Noura nodded fast. Yes, she said. Yes. I made tea because tea is what we do when we do not know what to do. I put cardamom in it. We sat and drank. The taste was normal. Nothing in my life felt normal, but the tea tasted like it always did. It anchored me. When she left, I sat on my prayer mat and cried in sajda. I put my forehead on the ground and said, Ya Allah, you see me. You see the knot in my chest. Untie the knot, or give me the strength to carry it. My tears soaked the mat where my head was. When I got up, Asr light was soft on the wall. Aisha knocked and came in. Mama, she said, Uncle Saeed is coming tomorrow. Imam Karim can come in the morning. Bilal is at the shop. He says he needs to make sure no one takes anything. My heart jumped. He should not be alone, I said. Call him. Aisha tried. No answer. He will not pick up, she said. He is angry. My chest hurt in a new way. I will go, I said. Aisha put her hand on my arm. Mama not alone. We took a taxi to the shop. The shutters were half up. Inside, Bilal was behind the counter, his face rigid. 2 men were there, not Farid and Jamal, but 2 boys who worked for them. They were boxing items. Bilal's voice was ice. Put them down, he said. Put them down now. We have orders, one of the boys said. Jamal said, Jamal is not the owner, Bilal snapped. My father is dead. There will be a count. Put it down. The boys looked at each other. Their eyes moved like birds. One of them saw me and Aisha. He swallowed. Let's go, he said to his friend. We will come back. They left. Bilal turned to me, his eyes bright with fury. Mama, what are you doing? He demanded. He looked like a child throwing a stone at a river. Why did you not tell me where you went? Why are Farid and Jamal acting like they own this place? Baba had plans, he told me. He said we would expand. He said he would make me a partner. Beta, I said softly. Things are not as you think. My throat was dry. Let us go home. Tomorrow we will meet with the Imam and your uncle. We will open things together. He shook his head hard. I am not leaving this shop. Baba's name will not be dragged by these men. I will sleep here if I must. I looked at him. He was my boy, but already he was someone's man. Come home, I said again. We will pray Maghrib together. Come home. His jaw clenched. Go, he said. I will lock up later. I wanted to grab him and pull him with me like when he was small. I did not. Aisha touched my shoulder. Mama, she whispered, let him stay. He is burning right now. We left. I looked back and saw Bilal standing behind the counter, tall, proud, broken, and not knowing it yet. My heart whispered a prayer that he would survive the truth. The next morning, Uncle Saeed came, his hair more white than I remembered, his hands still strong. He hugged me, hard, and said, Sabr, sister. He looked at Aisha like a father, and at Bilal like a mirror. He greeted them both. Then he sat at the table and listened as I told him about the bank, the box, the second marriage, the debts in my name, the flash drive. He closed his eyes. Astaghfirullah, he said softly. Hassan, what were you doing? He opened his eyes and looked at me. We will make a plan, he said, but first we must tell the Imam. We moved to the living room as Imam Karim arrived. He is a gentle man with a calm face. He listened without interrupting. When I finished, the room was quiet. He cleared his throat. Sister Fatima, he said, this is heavy. May Allah make it light. There are 2 paths here, the path of truth and the path of hiding. Hiding looks comfortable for a while, but it eats the soul. Truth will hurt everyone, but it will heal the wounds clean. I nodded. Tears slipped down my cheeks. I am afraid, I said. I am afraid of my children's hearts breaking. I am afraid of the community talk. I am afraid of losing our home. He nodded. Fear is normal, he said. We will go step by step. First, debts must be counted and paid before any inheritance. This is the law of Allah and the law of the land. Then, the estate is divided. If there are children, the wives share 1/8 together. The rest goes to the children. The sons receive the share of 2 daughters. This may feel hard, but Allah is just. He knows the tests He gives. He also knows your intentions. If Hassan had another wife and a child, we do not punish them. We treat them with justice. They are your family in the eyes of Allah, whether your heart is ready or not. I took a deep breath. The words settled like heavy, honest stones. I will not be a thief of someone else's share, I said quietly. I will not be like that. Uncle Said nodded. Good, he said. Now, Jamal and Fareed. This flash drive you have may be important, but we will not act alone. We will show it to the police with a lawyer present. We will not be bullied. We will not become noisemakers without proof. I nodded. And Bilal? I asked. How do we tell him? Imam Karim sighed. We tell him the truth with love and with firmness, he said. We remind him of Allah. We remind him that being a man is not about protecting a lie. It is about standing in light even when the light shows dust. That evening, we tried. We sat Bilal down. Aisha held my hand under the table. Uncle Said sat beside me. Beta, I said, I need to tell you something about your father. Bilal looked at me, his eyes full and hard. What now? He said. His voice had too much iron in it. I told him. I kept my voice even. I told him about the second marriage. I told him about the boy. I told him about the debts and the forged signature. I told him I had proof. He stood so fast his chair scraped. No, he said. No. This is not true. People will say anything to make a dead man look weak. Baba would not do this. He was a good man. He was strict, but he was a provider. He taught me how to be. Aisha's eyes filled. Bilal, she said softly. Baba he was both. He was our father. He was also a man who did wrong things. We have to accept both. Bilal slammed his hand on the table. You always judge him, he shouted, pointing at Aisha. You and your books. You think you are better than him, better than me. Maybe if Mama he stopped, but the words were already in the air, ready to fall. Say it, I said quietly. He swallowed, and the words came out ugly. Maybe if you were a better wife, he would not have looked elsewhere. Aisha gasped. Uncle Said stood, his face dark. His voice was calm, but it had a deep note I had not heard since I was a child. You will not speak to your mother like that, he said. Sit down. Bilal's chest heaved. His eyes were wet now. He was a boy again, and he was a man, and he was both. He sat slowly, like a puppet whose strings were tangled. He covered his face with his hands. I am sorry, he mumbled. I love him. He is gone. I do not know how to stand if he is not a hero. I reached across the table and touched his hand. Stand on Allah, I said, not on your father. Stand on the truth. The truth does not need heroes. It needs honest hearts. He cried then. Big, messy tears, and I pulled him close. I kissed his head like when he was 5 and fell off his bicycle. Aisha cried. Uncle Said looked away, his jaw tight. We were a small house with a large grief. 2 days later, I went to the police with Uncle Saeed and the imam. I brought the flash drive. The officer who met us was kind and careful. He listened. He took notes. He opened the files. That flash drive held scanned ledgers, emails, voice messages. It was a map of all the corners Hassan had tried to hide. There were numbers that did not match, inventory that had been moved without records, and notes of payments to Jamal and Farid that looked like consulting fees but smelled like something else. The officer rubbed his forehead. "This is serious," he said. "We will investigate. For now, do not speak to those men without someone with you. If they come to your shop, call us." As we left the station, my phone buzzed. A message from a number I did not know. A voice note. I pressed play. Hassan's voice filled my ear. It was rough and tired. "Fatima," he said, "I do not know if you will ever hear this. Noura is with me. She is telling me to do the right thing. She says, make a record. My chest hurts. I am afraid. I cannot lie to my own ears anymore. I did this. I made this mess. I am so ashamed. I thought I could fix it by working harder, being louder. The devil is clever with men like me. I have put the papers in the box. I have put the ledger on the drive. If Jamal comes, do not let him in. Call the police. Tell Bilal to be a better man than me. I loved you in my way. I loved our children. If you can, forgive me. Forgive. If you cannot, ask Allah to forgive me. He is more generous than any of us." The message ended with a small cough and then a long silence. My eyes were wet and burning by the time it finished. Noura had sent it. I looked up at the sky. It was white and still. My heart broke again, in a new shape. Later that night, after Isha, I went to the shop with Bilal. We had to do a count. We had to have papers ready. We had to stand our ground. Aisha wanted to come, but I told her to stay and rest. She had done enough. The street outside the shop was quiet. The shutters made their metal sound as we lifted them. Inside, the air smelled like spices and cardboard. The shelves looked normal, as if life was unchanged. It made me angry for a second, that the world can look the same when you are broken. We went into the small back office. There was a desk, a chair, and a cabinet with 2 drawers. On the bottom drawer, I saw a small keyhole. My breath caught. The key in my bag felt suddenly heavy. I looked at Bilal. "Go count the oils in aisle 3, I said. "I will start the papers here." He nodded and left the room. I closed the office door. I took out the key. I hesitated for a heartbeat. Then I slid it in. It turned smooth. Inside, stacks of paper, receipts, a notebook, a brown envelope. On the envelope, for Fatima. My hands shook. I opened it. Inside, a single sheet. "The jewelry," it said. "I sold 2 bangles last year. I used them to cover payroll when Jamal threatened me. I kept 3 in the bank. Forgive me. I meant to buy them back. I did not. I am ashamed." There was another sheet. "The apartment," it said. "I tried to transfer half to your name. The bank refused because of the debts. I left the title as it is. Talk to Saeed. He will help." My eyes moved fast. At the bottom, I wrote a will. It is improper. I did not have witnesses. It is in the top drawer. I opened the top drawer. A piece of paper with messy lines. "I want Fatima to have the apartment," it said. "I want Bilal to have the shop. I want Aisha to have the savings." It was not valid. It was a wish. It was a man trying to write over the law of Allah in his fear. I folded it. I put it back. I closed the drawer. I leaned back in the chair. My heart hammered. I heard Bilal's voice in the shop, counting. 23, 24, 25. He sounded like a tired soldier. I pressed my hand to my chest. Ya Allah, I whispered. I am drowning. Hold me. Before we left, I saw one more thing. A small card tucked behind the ledger. I pulled it out. It had a number and a locker address, not the bank. A storage unit on River Lane. The key in my bag had a twin number scratched on the side. My skin prickled. I put the card in my pocket. I did not tell Bilal yet. I did not want to lead him into another storm that night. The next day, I went to the storage center with Uncle Saeed. The manager looked like he had seen every kind of secret. He walked us down a corridor of metal doors, each with a number. The air smelled like dust and old things. The lights were bright and tired. We stopped at C-17. I took the key out. My hands were steady now. I do not know how. The lock turned and the door rolled up. Inside, a few boxes, a small suitcase, and a chair. I recognized the chair. It was from our first apartment. I smiled in spite of myself. It had one leg that always wobbled. We opened the boxes one by one, old receipts, out-of-date office supplies, a shoebox of photos. The photos were from the early days of the shop, Hassan standing proud in front of his new sign, me holding a broom, laughing, hair showing under my house scarf because we were alone and young. The last box was heavier. Inside, more papers, a brown notebook, and a small bag. The bag was my old velvet pouch. I held my breath and opened it. Inside was a single earring, one of my gold set. Just one. A half of a pair, like a sentence without its end. It broke me in a quiet way. Half. So many halves. In the notebook, there was writing. Not numbers. Words. Hassan's words. I think I am drowning, one page said. I have no one to talk to who does not want something. Another page. Jamal threatened to tell Fatima about Noura if I did not move the inventory and fake a robbery. I said no. Then I said maybe. Then I said no again. I am a coward. I am a coward. Another page. Omar's birthday today. He is 5. I was not there. I told myself it was better. I am a liar. Another page. Fatima made chai. She is beautiful when she stirs the pot. Does she know? She must know. I am afraid of her eyes. My chest pulled tight and then loosened. He had loved me, but he had been weak. He had loved me, but he had loved himself more. We closed the unit. In the car, Uncle Saeed cleared his throat. We have enough, he said. We have truth. Now we need courage. As if the world was listening, my phone rang. It was Jamal. His voice was smooth. Sister, we are at the shop, he said. We need to collect some items. The supplier is waiting. Do not touch anything, I said. The police are informed. He laughed, short. Police? This is a business matter. It is a matter of theft, I said. Do not test me today. He hung up. My hands shook. We must go, I said to Saeed. We drove fast. At the shop, the shutters were open. 2 trucks were outside. Men were loading boxes. Bilal was shouting, his face red. Jamal stood with his arms folded, a smile like a knife. I stepped out of the car. Stop, I said, my voice loud in a way I had never heard it. The men paused. Jamal looked at me, amused. Sister, step aside. Stop, I said again, and this time there was a cop car sound behind me, the soft bark of a siren. Uncle Saeed had called while we drove. The officer from the station stepped out. He looked at the trucks, the men, at me. "What is this?" he asked. Jamal spread his hands. "Business," he said. "We are helping the family." The officer looked at me. I handed him the printouts from the flash drive. I handed him copies of the ledger pages. He flipped through them. His face changed. He turned to the men. "Stop loading," he said. "We will sort this with papers, not with muscle. Everyone step away from the boxes." Jamal's mouth tightened. For a second, something ugly flew across his face. He walked toward me, slow. He leaned in close, his voice low. "You think you are strong," he said. "You are an old woman with grief. Do not make enemies you cannot feed." I met his eyes. My hands did not shake. "I have, Allah," I said. "I have enough." I felt light when I said it, like the words were holding me up. The officer stepped between us. "Sir, step back," he said. Jamal did. He did not look at me again. He called to his men. "Let's go," he snapped. They left. The trucks drove away. The street was left with quiet. Bilal looked at me as if he had never seen me before. "Mama," he breathed. Then he hugged me, hard, like he was afraid I would slip through his arms. I held him. I closed my eyes. I thanked Allah in my heart. One fight was not the war, but we had not lost this one. That night, Noura sent me another message. It was a short video. She had recorded a page of paper before she gave it to me, as if she knew I would not look at some things right away. It was Hassan's writing again. "To the Imam," it said at the top. "If this reaches you, please guide my family. I was wrong. I ask that Noura and her son be given their rights. I know this hurts Fatima. My heart was not strong. I ask that my debts are paid from the shop first. Then, I ask that the rest is divided as Allah commands. I have left proof of Jamal's threats. Protect my family from him. I am ashamed to write my own destruction with my hand. But maybe this is mercy. Maybe truth now is better than silence forever." I sat on the edge of my bed with the phone in my hand and the message on the screen. I was tired in my bones. I was tired in the part of me that dreams. I looked at the wall. Our wedding photo was there, in a simple frame. Hassan was young. I was young. We did not know yet who we would be to each other. I stood and took the frame down. I dusted it. I put it back up. "You were both my joy and my test," I said to his picture. Maybe that is what marriage is. The day of the meeting came. We had asked the Imam to bring 2 elders from the community to act as witnesses. We had asked Noura to come. We had asked Bilal and Aisha to sit with us. The living room was small, but it held us. The afternoon sun lay on the floor in a long rectangle, like a prayer rug made of light. I had baked bread in the morning. The smell made the house feel kinder than the day deserved. Noura arrived with Omar. He wore a little sweater with a car on it. He looked at the shelf where the dates and nuts were, then at Bilal, then at me. His eyes were like Hassan's, yes, but softer. He did not know the storm that carried him. We began with tea. We began with Bismillah. The Imam spoke first. He explained what we were doing. He explained that this was a family sitting to speak truth into a life that had been held by lies. He spoke of mercy, of sabr, of qadr, that Allah's decree comes in ways we do not choose. He said that this is a trying time, and that what we do now will echo in our children's hearts. I took out the papers. I took out the bank letter, the marriage certificate, the birth certificate. My hands were steady. I felt old and clear. I spoke. "My husband married Noura in secret 7 years ago," I said. "They have a son. His name is Omar. He is 6. Hassan also took loans. Some of these loans have my forged signature. Jamal and Farid put pressure on him to do things that were not lawful. Hassan left a confession. He left a request for justice. He asked that debts be paid and then the inheritance be divided by the law of Allah. He asked that Noura and Omar be given their rights. I heard my voice and wondered at it. It did not break. Maybe it would later. But in that moment, it was a line. Bilal's face was pale. Aisha squeezed my hand. Noura looked down, tears on her cheeks. Omar swung his legs on the chair and hummed softly to himself, a little song children make when they do not know what else to do. The Imam nodded. "We have to inform a lawyer," he said. "We have to work with the police on the forged signatures and on Jamal's threats. For the estate itself, we must wait for the court. The law of the land will do its process. But we can decide something today. We can decide how we will behave. We can decide if we will fight like wolves or if we will sit like believers who know the world is a test." I took a breath. "I will not fight like a wolf," I said. "I will fight like a woman of Allah. I will be firm, but I will not be cruel." Noura sobbed quietly. "I am sorry," she whispered. "I am sorry for breathing in your world." I shook my head. "Do not be sorry for breathing," I said. "Be sorry for your sins. I am sorry for mine. Hassan is in his grave now. His account with Allah is open. He will not answer to me. I will answer for how I act today." I looked at Omar. He looked back at me with curious eyes. I smiled at him. He smiled back, unsure. He had a gap in his teeth. It made him look like innocence itself. Something in my chest loosened. The elders asked questions. They asked for dates, for documents. They made notes. They spoke of cases they had seen, of men who married in secret and left chaos. They spoke of women who closed their hearts and women who opened them. I listened and blinked my tears away and poured more tea. I moved like a woman who had lived many lives. After the meeting, when the house was quiet again, Bilal came to me. He looked like a man who had walked through hail. He took a breath. "I will accept it," he said. His voice shook with pride and pain. "I will accept Omar as my brother. But I cannot look at Noura now. I need time." I nodded. "Time is a kind doctor," I said. "Take it." He stared at the floor, then up at me. Do you forgive him?" he asked. He was the child in him asking his mother to build a wall against an ocean. "I do not know yet," I said honestly. "I am trying. Some hours I do. Some hours I hate him. I tell Allah everything. He is the only one who can hold all of it." Bilal nodded, relieved that he did not have to be the judge. "Okay," he said. "Okay." 2 days later, a letter came. It was from the bank. It said that Hassan had an overdue loan. It said that if we did not pay, they would start the process to claim against the shop. My stomach dropped. I took the letter to Uncle Saeed. He frowned. "We will negotiate," he said. "We will show them the records. We will ask for time." We spent hours on the phone. We went to the bank. We sat in offices with cold air and serious faces. We were told to wait. We were told to bring more papers. This is the world. Paper, signatures, waiting. At night my mind turned and turned. I thought of revenge. I am not ashamed to tell you. I thought of burning the second marriage paper. I thought of telling no one about the flash drive. I thought of closing my door and pretending my world was small and simple. I thought of slapping furniture because I could not slap Allah's decree. I thought of telling the community that Noura had tricked my husband. It would have been easy. People love a simple story with a single villain. But then I would be a liar, and my prayers would taste like ash. The next morning, after Fajr, I went to the masjid. The women's section was dim. I stood in the back corner, the one I like. I raised my hands. Ya Wadud, I said, O loving one. Put love in my heart for what is right, not for what is sweet, not for what flatters me, but for what is right. My voice shook, my head hurt. My tears felt like little knives, sharp and purifying. As I left the masjid, I saw an old woman sitting on the steps. Her name is Khadija. She is always there, feeding the cats. She looked at me and said, "You look like you fought the wind, Fatima." I sat beside her. "I did," I said. She nodded. "Did you win?" she asked. I smiled a little. "I am still standing," I said. She nodded again. "Then you are winning," she said. She gave me a piece of bread for the cats. We broke it together, small pieces. The cats came. They ate. Life in its small ways kept going. That afternoon, the police called. They had questions. They wanted more details about Jamal and Farid. They asked me to come in the next day. We prepared. We gathered every receipt, every letter. We made copies. We prayed. Before I went to bed, my phone buzzed again. Another voice note from Noura. "I found this today," she said. It was saved in an old phone. Hassan's voice came again. This time it was softer, almost a whisper. "If you are listening, it means I did not make it to you," he said. I was on my way. I had the papers. I was ready to tell you everything. My heart started to hurt in the car. I pulled over. I called Noura. I told her where the box was. I told her to take the key to you at the janazah. I know it is cruel to ask you to carry this after my body is in the ground. But maybe Allah made it this way because I would not face you when I was alive. Maybe this is my last honesty. Do not let them hurt our children. Do not let them say I was a saint. Do not let them say I was a devil. I was a man. I was weak. I loved you. I hurt you. I am sorry." I held the phone and cried like a child. I lay on my side and cried until the pillow was wet. I whispered the Shahada for him again. I whispered Surah al-Ikhlas over and over, the small chapter that feels like the heart of everything. Say, "He is Allah, the One." I said it until my breath was calm. The next day at the police station, there was a surprise. Farid had come. He sat in the waiting area, his face gray. He looked at me and stood. "Sister," he said. He looked smaller without Jamal. He looked like someone's lost boy. "I want to tell the truth." His voice shook. "Jamal, he is dangerous. He used Hassan. He used me. He will throw me under the bus, as they say. I do not want to lose my soul. I will give you everything I know if you promise to tell the judge I came forward." I felt no joy, only a tired kind of relief. "Tell the police," I said. "Not me. Tell them. Do the right thing because it is right." He nodded, tears in his eyes, and went to the desk. When the officer called us in, Farid sat and spoke. He told them about fake invoices, about pressure, about threats. He told them about the plan to fake a robbery. He told them about nights Hassan came to him shaking with guilt. He cried. The officer took notes. The world began to tilt back toward balance. That evening, I went home and sat at the table with the blue tin. I took out the bangles, 3 left, and placed them on the table. The clink was soft. I took out the single earring. I placed it beside them. Then I took out a letter I had not opened yet. On it, "For Fatima last." I broke the seal. "Fatima," it read, "I know I have no right to ask this, but I am asking anyway. If you can, please give Noura and Omar one thing that is mine so they feel I did not abandon them. Not money. Money will come or go. Give them something that smelled like me. The blue scarf in the bottom drawer, or my prayer cap, or my old watch. Let Omar hold his father's watch and know I was real. Let him hate me later for all this. But let him love me for a moment. It is a lot to ask. I know. I am sorry. I closed my eyes. I saw the watch. It was in my drawer with his ring. I could give it. I could keep it. It was such a small thing, and yet it felt like giving a piece of bone. I sat with the letter for a long time. The evening light moved on the wall. The street outside was alive with small sounds. At Maghrib, I stood to pray. My body moved in the patterns it knew. In sujud, I tucked my hands near my face and whispered, Ya Rahman, open my fist. I lifted my head with a decision in my heart. I called Noura. Can you come tomorrow after Zuhr? I asked. Bring Omar. She agreed. My hands were cold. My mind was quiet in a strange way. They came. Omar bounced in with little boy energy, then stilled when he saw my serious face. I smiled and knelt so I was eye level with him. Omar, I said, I have something for you. He looked at his mother, then at me. His eyes were questioning. I stood and took Hassan's watch from the drawer. It was scratched. The leather band was cracked at the edge. It smelled faintly of his cologne. I held it up. This was your father's watch, I said. He wore it every day. He would look at it and say, time runs faster than feet. My voice broke a little on that small memory. He wanted you to have it. Omar's eyes widened. He reached out, then pulled his hand back, shy. I smiled and put it in his palm. He held it like a bird. He whispered, Shukran. He looked at Noura. She was crying quietly. She put her hand on his head. I turned to Noura. I placed Hassan's prayer cap in her hand. For you, I said, put it somewhere high, not because he was high, but because prayer is high. She nodded. We stood there, 3 people in a small kitchen, holding pieces of a man who had broken us. And in that moment, something opened in my chest. It was not forgiveness, not yet. But it was a space where forgiveness could live. That night, I sat by the window with the flash drive in my palm. It felt warm from my hand. The city outside was humming like a low song. I thought of everything. The bank box, the storage unit, Jamal's threat, Farid's confession, the Imam's calm voice, Bilal's anger, Aisha's quiet tears, Noura's thin wrists, Omar's gap-toothed smile, Hassan's last message. My life had become a rope with many knots. I closed my eyes. Allah, I whispered, I see the lesson. You are showing me that love without truth is a cage. You are showing me that revenge is a mirage. You are showing me that my strength does not come from being right, but from being honest. Give me the courage to walk the honest path, even if it is full of thorns. The room felt still. The air felt clean for a moment. I opened my eyes and felt something settle inside me like a bird finding its branch. And then it came, the moment that defined everything. A knock on the door, late. Hard. I stood. Aisha came out of her room, eyes wide. Bilal stood from the couch. Uncle Saeed was with us, on the floor reading. He stood too. I went to the door. Who is it? I called. A voice answered, low and steady. It is me, Karim. I opened the door. Imam Karim stood there, a folded paper in his hand. His face was serious, but his eyes were kind. Sister, he said, I received a copy of Hassan's old nikah papers from a witness who came forward this evening. There is something else with it. He handed me the paper. It was a photo of a medical form. I squinted. It was a consent form for a blood test. At the bottom, Hassan's signature. Under it, purpose, paternity confirmation. The date was 4 years ago. My knees felt weak. I sat without meaning to. The world tilted. Bilal took the paper, his face drained of color. "What is this?" he whispered. He looked up, eyes wide, and the boy in him was in the room again, scared and honest. "Am I?" He could not finish. I took the paper back gently. The imam sat. "Listen," he said softly. "There was a test 4 years ago. It was for Omar. Hassan asked for it because someone in Jamal's circle was spreading rumors to blackmail him. The result confirmed what we already knew. Omar is his son. It was not about you, Bilal. You are his son in all the ways that matter and in blood. This paper has come to me because the witness feared Jamal would twist it to hurt your family. He wanted me to protect you with the truth." Bilal's breath came back. I watched his shoulders lower. He nodded, a small nod. He looked at me, ashamed of what he had thought for 1 second. I reached across and touched his cheek. "You are my son," I said. "Nothing in this world can change that." The imam continued. "There is one more thing. The witness, an old neighbor of Noura's, told me that Hassan had been trying to end his involvement with Jamal. He had refused the fake robbery plan. Jamal threatened to call you, Fatima, and tell you everything in the ugliest way if Hassan did not give him a final payment. Hassan was on his way to meet me, with the intention to confess and to seek help, when he died." I closed my eyes. The truth gathered. It was not clean. It was not a story with a shiny moral yet. It was a pile of pain and poor choices and fear and a few brave moments at the end. The room held all of it. We sat in the quiet. I could hear the clock on the wall. I could hear my own breath. I could hear Allah in the space between those sounds. I opened my eyes. I looked at my children. I looked at the imam. I looked at the paper in my hand. And I said, with a calm I did not know I could have, "We will tell the community. We will not hide. We will stand in the masjid and say the truth. We will say that Hassan had 2 wives and a son with each. We will say he made mistakes. We will say he asked for forgiveness. We will say we choose justice. We will say we choose to fear Allah more than we fear people. We will say we choose to be kind." It felt like jumping into cold water. It took my breath and gave it back cleaner. In that moment, I understood what the key had really opened. It had opened this choice in me. It had opened the door in my heart where I decide who I am. I am not just the woman who was betrayed. I am the woman who will walk the truth, even if it breaks her feet. 2 days after the imam brought the papers, it was Friday. The masjid was full, the men on one side, the women on the other. I stood in the quiet corner at the back where I always stand. The carpet felt steady under my feet. When the khutbah ended and people began to move, the imam touched the microphone again. His voice was soft but firm. He asked the community to sit for 1 more minute. He spoke about truth. He spoke about how sometimes the truth of a family is not simple, but it is still our duty to stand beside it with mercy. He said my name with respect. He said Hassan's name without praise or hate. He said there had been a second marriage. He said there was a child. He did not give details. He spoke of patience. He said, "We will help this family pay what must be paid, and we will help them stay together with dignity." Then he asked if anyone would like to give sadaqah for Hassan's debts. There was a pause. In that pause, my heart was a small, scared bird. Then I heard it. The gentle rustle of people opening their bags, reaching into their pockets. I saw a hand come from the men's side to the women's side with a folded note. A sister beside me pressed a coin into my hand. "For Sabr," she whispered. Tears came to my eyes. I felt the mercy of Allah like shade. After the prayer, there were whispers too. There are always whispers. A woman I did not know came to me, eyes sharp. "Sister, I would never let another wife into my story," she said. "You are too soft." I looked at her face and saw her fear. I smiled quietly. "May Allah protect your home," I said. "Softness is not weakness. Sometimes it is iron you cannot see." She blinked, surprised. She opened her mouth, then closed it again. She walked away. Another woman, older, took my hand. "I lived this," she said. 30 years ago. I forgave him before he died. Not for him, for me." She squeezed my fingers. "You will breathe again." That weekend, we sat at the table with Uncle Saeed and stacks of papers. The bank had sent another letter. The numbers were heavy. We called the bank manager. We showed records. We asked for a payment plan. We asked for time. The manager was stern but not cruel. He said, "Bring me a down payment. Then we will freeze the interest for 6 months. Prove you are clearing the inventory properly. No hidden sales." It was not easy, but it was something. I felt the rope in my chest loosen a little. I opened my small blue tin. 3 gold bangles lay there, bright even in the gray light. My mother had given them to me with her own hands on my wedding day. She had said, "For joy, for rainy days, for your safety." I touched them. They felt like history. I took 2 out and wrapped them in cloth. A tear fell on the cloth and made a small, dark circle. I went to the jeweler, an old man with gentle eyes. He weighed them. He named a price. I nodded. He put the cash in an envelope. I walked home slowly. It was not the money. It was the feeling of letting go of something that had held stories. I told myself, my safety is not in gold. My safety is in Allah. We used that money for the down payment and for a lawyer. We made a list of the shop items. We sold the extra stock in a proper, recorded sale. Everything was counted. Every box was listed. Bilal worked all day with a pen in his hand instead of anger in his mouth. I watched him change. He moved slower. He checked his own work. At night, his shoulders were tired, but his eyes were clearer. Jamal kept his distance. The police had papers now. Farid had spoken. The officer told us the case would take time. He told us not to be afraid, but to be careful. We saw Jamal once outside the shop. He did not come in. He looked at us the way a wolf looks at a house with a light on. Then he left. I did not feel proud. I felt the small shiver you feel when danger passes close. One afternoon, I went to the storage unit alone. I wanted to take the old chair home. It wobbled because one leg was short. Hassan had always said, "One day, I will fix it." But he never did. I rolled up my sleeves and sanded the short leg a little. I glued a small piece of wood to it. I painted the chair a soft, warm blue. When it dried, I sat on it in the kitchen. It did not wobble. I laughed, a short, unexpected laugh. I whispered, "See, Hassan? I can fix things too." Aisha made a plan for us. She said, "Mama, every Wednesday night we will read Quran together. Only 1 page, but slowly." We began. We chose Surah Yusuf. It is a story about jealousy, lies, prison, and forgiveness. It is a story where a heart is tested until it becomes a jewel. We read "No blame upon you" today. We read it out loud and let the words rest in the room like perfume. We cried, then we made chai and sat under a blanket. Aisha put her head on my shoulder. I kissed her hair. I thought of all the daughters in the world who carry their mothers without saying they do. On a rainy Tuesday, Noura called. "I got more hours at the school," she said. "Alhamdulillah." She sounded like someone who had been holding her breath. "And my landlord finally fixed the boiler. We have hot water again." I smiled. "This is good," I said. "Come for lunch on Friday." Bring Omar. There was a pause. Are you sure? She asked. Yes, I said. We will cook something simple. We will sit. That is all. They came. I made lentil soup the way my mother taught me. I fried little pieces of bread to drop in the bowl. Omar ate and then asked, Do you have dates? I laughed. Yes, I said. A boy who asks for dates is a good boy. I brought the dates. He took one, then another, then he shared with Aisha, who pretended to be surprised as if she had never seen a date before. The house felt warmer, the walls felt kinder. Bilal came home while we were clearing the table. He froze in the doorway for a second. His face changed, then steadied. He went to the sink and washed his hands. He sat. Assalamu alaikum, he said to Omar, his voice careful. What is your name? Omar lifted his chin. Omar, he said. His small chest was proud. I am 6. Bilal nodded. I am 26, he said. Do you like cars? Omar's eyes lit up. Yes, he said. Bilal stood and went to his room. He came back with a small red toy car, the one he had loved when he was 8. He put it on the table and slid it gently toward Omar. For you, he said. Omar looked at his mother. She nodded. He took the car and smiled so big his gap showed. Shukran, he whispered. Bilal's mouth softened. He looked at me with a small question in his eyes. Is this right? I nodded. He looked relieved. Days passed. Some were heavy, some were light. Sometimes I woke with peace in my chest like a soft blanket. Sometimes I woke with anger like a stone. On the heavy days, I sat on my prayer mat longer. I told Allah the truth. I am angry, I would say. I am jealous of my own husband's other life. I am tired of counting papers. I am ashamed that I did not see what was in front of me. I am scared about money. I would sit until the anger turned into tears, and the tears turned into quiet. On the light days, I cooked extra and sent food to Noura and to Khadija and to the student who lived downstairs, who always forgot to eat. One evening, the officer called with news. We arrested Jamal, he said. We have enough. There are recordings, there are messages, there is Farid's statement, and there is the ledger. He will go to court. I did not jump. I did not clap. I sat in my chair and closed my eyes. Thank you, I said. After I put the phone down, I stood on my mat and raised my hands. Ya Adil, I whispered. Oh, just one, let justice be done without cruelty. Let this be a lesson for us all. Farid asked to meet me. We sat in the corner of the tea shop near the masjid, where the tables wobble and the spoons are always hot. He looked thin. He looked like someone who had not slept for years and finally slept. I am making tawbah, he said. I sold my car. I paid back what I could. I will testify. I am sorry. He looked at his hands. I have a daughter. She is Omar's age. When I look at her, I see what I did to you. I cannot live with it. I listened. I did not pat his hand. I did not say it was okay. I said, May Allah accept your repentance. Do not do this again to anyone. Keep your promise. Pray for Hassan. He nodded. He wiped his eyes with the back of his hand. The bank process moved like slow water. We sent papers, they sent papers, we met with a lawyer. He was kind and clear. He said, After the debts, there will not be much. He said it gently. I took a breath. Even if there is nothing, I said, we will divide the nothing with justice. He smiled a little. I have not heard it said like that, he said. But it is true. When the time came to divide the estate, the judge asked for the family to be present. The room was large and cold. The walls made everyone's voice sound smaller. The judge spoke. He said that after paying debts to the bank and suppliers, and after selling the extra inventory, and after the legal fees, the remaining estate would be divided by law. He looked at our papers. He saw the marriage certificate for Noura. He saw the birth certificates for Aisha, Bilal, and Omar. He did not look into our hearts. That is not his job. He moved through numbers. He said, the wives together receive 1/8. The rest goes to the children. The sons each receive the share of 2 daughters. It is the law of Allah, and also accepted here when people agree. Aisha sat straight and nodded. She did not count her share out loud. Bilal stared at the floor. He did not ask for more. Omar swung his legs. He did not understand the math. When it was over, Noura turned to me in the hallway. I did not expect anything, she said. I came to the meeting because it is right. I will use this for rent and for school shoes. That is all. I nodded. I know, I said. Use it and say, Alhamdulillah. We stood there for a moment, 2 women who had loved and feared the same man. Then we hugged, like sisters do when they have no words. The shop had to go. It hurt to make the decision, but it was the clean one. The name came down. The shelves were sold. The sign that we had painted together went into the back of a truck. I touched it once with my fingers as it passed. The blue paint felt rough under my skin. It had been our pride. It had become our test. Bilal did not speak for a long time after that. He took long walks, came home, drank water, and went to bed. One night he said, I think I want to study. Part-time, business, real accounting. Real rules. I smiled. Good, I said. Be the kind of man who keeps paper clean. He found a job at a warehouse in the mornings. He studied at night. He helped Aisha fix a shelf one Sunday, and she clapped when it did not fall. He laughed for the first time in months. It was a small laugh, like a light bulb turning on and holding. I sat in the doorway and watched them, and I cried quietly, the good kind of tears. People still talked. Some tried to gossip in front of me. I learned to say, let us make dua instead. And then I would say a dua out loud, so they had to say, Ameen. It worked. The gossip dripped away like water from a roof after rain. Khadija saw me in the market and hugged me so hard my bones made a sound. You are still standing, she said. I laughed. Yes, I said, by Allah's mercy. She gave me extra mint for my tea. For your heart, she said. On the first Eid after all of this, I woke early and cooked meat and rice and peas with cumin. I put cardamom in the coffee. I made a sweet tray with dates and almonds and small squares of halva. The house smelled like sugar and spice and old joy. I put on my best abaya, the black one with a thin line of embroidery that Aisha had given me. I looked in the mirror. I looked older. I looked softer. I put henna on my hands the night before, and it had stained a deep, steady brown. We went to the prayer ground. The sun was soft, the grass was damp, people hugged, children ran in circles. I saw Noura and Omar from a distance. Omar waved with both hands as if steering a boat. Bilal saw them too. He hesitated, then he walked over. He said something to Omar. He tied the boy's loose lace. He patted his head. I stood with Aisha and watched the scene like a small movie in our life. Aisha leaned her head on my shoulder without words. We watched Bilal take a step into kindness. I thanked Allah in my heart for showing me this sight while I was still alive. After the prayer, we all came to my place. Not everyone at once, but in a gentle flow. Some stayed for coffee. Some stayed for stories. Farid came with his wife. He stood at the door, his face red with shame. Sister, he said, Eid Mubarak. I looked at his wife. She was holding a plate of sweets. I nodded. Eid Mubarak, I said. Come in. It was not approval. It was a choice to let repentance breathe. He sat quietly, ate one date, and left before the house got crowded. I saw him stand outside for a moment, looking at the sky like a man asking for a third chance. Later, I took Hassan's photo off the wall and placed it on the table. I lit a small scent burner. The room smelled like wood smoke and clove. I looked at his face. I saw the boy he had been. I saw the man he became. I saw my own young face beside his. I whispered, "I forgive you." I said it softly, like a secret between me and Allah. My heart swelled and then calmed. It did not make everything easy. It made everything bearable. I felt my hands unclench. I decided to do Sadaqah Jariyah in his name, not because he deserved it more than anyone else, because I needed my heart to move toward light. With Aisha's help, we put money together with 2 other sisters from the masjid and sponsored a small water tap near the village where my mother was born. A picture came back months later, 2 boys laughing, water splashing on their faces, a woman filling a jug. The note said, "From Fatima, for Hassan." I cried when I saw it. Water is life. Maybe some mercy would reach him. Maybe some mercy would reach me too. There were still nights when I woke and could not breathe. On those nights, I would go to the kitchen, heat milk with a piece of cardamom, and sit by the window. The city would be quiet. A cat would cross the alley like a shadow with a tail. I would do dhikr softly, La ilaha illa Allah, until the sound of those words filled the room like a soft blanket. Sometimes I would speak to Allah as if he were sitting in the chair across from me. "You know I tried," I would say. "You know I failed many times. You know I am tired. Hold me." And I would feel held, not by an arm, by a kind of peace that does not have edges. Months later, the court sentenced Jamal. It was not a long sentence. It was enough. He would pay fines. He would repay some of what he took. He would be watched. People said, "This is karma." I do not use that word. I say, "This is qadr and justice." I did not cheer. I prayed for him once, a quiet dua, "Ya Hadi, guide him, keep him away from those he can harm." Then I let him go in my mind. I did not want to live with his shadow. Bilal finished his first term. He passed all his classes. He brought the grades to me like a child again. I put them on the fridge with a magnet shaped like a pomegranate. He blushed. "Mama," he said. There was pride in his voice, the good kind that does not need applause. Aisha found a part-time work at a library. She sent me photos of old books like they were babies. I laughed. I sent her photos of dinner like it was gold. Noura and I found our rhythm. She would call sometimes with small questions. "How do you get the rice not to stick? How do you stop the lemon tree from dying?" I would answer. She would bring me a small bag of oranges when her neighbor's tree had too many. I would send her leftover soup on a rainy day. It was not a friendship like young girls make. It was a slow, deliberate kindness that grew like a plant you water once a week and check on with care. One evening, Omar came with a school paper. It had a drawing of a family. He had drawn a big woman with a scarf, a small woman with a scarf, 2 tall stick boys, and a small stick boy. He had written, "My family," at the top, in shaky letters. He showed it to me, proud. He said, "I drew you too." I felt something shift inside me. I put my hand on his head and said, "Allah bless you." After he left, I cried for a long time, with my face in the kitchen towel so no one would hear, not from sadness, from the strange, deep feeling of being included in a child's world without asking. There were mistakes too. I am not going to paint a clean picture for you. One day, at the market, a woman said loudly, "This is the first wife." She looked at me like I had a special badge. I felt a stab of shame and anger. Another day, Omar said in his pure way. My Baba used to stay with me and Mama. Bilal's face closed. He did not speak to me that night. He went for a long drive and came back late. The next morning, he made me tea and hugged me without words. We kept walking. I keep Hassan's ring in a small bowl now. I look at it sometimes. It used to sit on his finger and move through the world with him. Now it sits in the light by the window. It is quiet. Sometimes I hold it and say Surah al-Fatiha for him. Sometimes I think of the days when he came home and dropped his keys in the blue dish and said, Fatima, your tea could wake the dead. I smile. Because his jokes were silly and because love does not die when people do. It changes shape. It becomes a prayer. It becomes a lesson. It becomes a way of putting your feet on the floor in the morning without fear. I still keep the key with the faded blue ribbon in my drawer. It does not open anything now, but it reminds me that some doors we open are inside us. The key opened a box in a bank. It opened a drawer in a back office. It opened a storage unit. Mostly, it opened my heart. It made me choose who I want to be when the sky is not kind. I choose to be the woman who says, Bismillah, and steps forward. I will not tell you that forgiveness is easy. It is a practice. Some days I can hold it, some days it slips. On the days when it slips, I sit. I tell Allah, it slipped. He knows. He loves us, even when we drop what He told us to hold. Then I pick it up again. Now, when I cook chai, I stir it as if I am stirring my own past into something warm, cardamom, ginger, milk. The steam rises and touches my face. I think of my mother. I think of young me. I think of my children. I think of a boy with a gap in his teeth holding an old watch close to his ear to hear if it still ticks. I think of a man who tried to be strong and failed and found a small piece of courage at the end. I say Alhamdulillah, not because everything is good, because Allah is still good, even when everything is not. If you had told me a year ago that I would sit at one table with my daughter, my son, a woman my husband married in secret, and the boy they made, and feel peace rise in me like the dawn, I would not have believed you. But here I am. My life did not become smaller after the truth. It became wider. Pain stretches the heart in a way that makes more room for mercy. People say, what is the lesson? They want a clean sentence to carry home. I do not have a clean sentence. I have many small ones. Do not hold on to a lie because you are afraid of who you are without it. Do not make your husband your God. Do not make your children your shield. Use the law of Allah as a light, not as a stick. When your anger is bigger than your body, put your head on the ground and let the earth hold it for a while. When people talk, let them. Their tongues will get tired. Your heart must stay awake. I learned this too. Revenge tastes sweet for 1 second, and then it burns your mouth. Justice is different. Justice is firm. Justice is a clean knife that cuts the rot out so the rest can heal. Mercy is the bandage you put after. Without mercy, the wound stays open even when the rot is gone. With mercy, the skin closes and leaves a scar that you can touch without pain one day. Maybe Allah wanted me to lose my comfort so I could find my courage. Maybe He wanted me to lose my pride so I could find my prayer. Maybe He wanted me to lose the picture of my husband I kept like a shield so I could see the real man and forgive him, and forgive myself for not being perfect either. Maybe Allah wanted me to lose everything I thought I needed so I could finally find peace in Him. When I visit Hassan's grave now, I do not cry every time. Sometimes I sit on the little bench and recite Yasin softly, my fingers moving on the beads. I tell him the news. Bilal passed his exams. Aisha found an old book about birds. Omar can tie his shoes now. I tell him that we are okay. I tell him that we are walking toward Allah, all of us, one foot, then the other. The wind moves the grass. The sky is big. I feel small and beloved at the same time. If you are listening to me and you are carrying a secret that is eating your heart, I am not going to tell you to be brave today. I will tell you to be honest, even if the honesty is only with Allah at first. Put it on your prayer mat. Let Him hold it. He will show you the next small step. Take that step, then another. Do not look at the mountain. Look at your feet and say Bismillah and walk. And if you are listening to me, and you are the one who has been betrayed, I will not say, forgive now. I will say, do not poison yourself with revenge while you wait to forgive. Stand with justice. Protect your home. Protect your heart. Drink water. Eat. Pray. Hold your child's hand. Hold your own hand. When forgiveness is ready, it will knock on your door. You will open it when you are ready. It will sit at your table like an old guest, and you will realize you knew it all along. This is my story. A key with a blue ribbon, a box, a note, a second wife, a child with kind eyes, 2 bangles sold for a clean paper, a chair that finally stands without wobbling, a son who is learning to be a gentle man, a daughter who reads to me in the soft light, a woman who was once a stranger and is now part of my family's prayers, a man in a grave whose name I still say with dua, a Lord who was near the whole time. Alhamdulillah for the storm. It broke what needed breaking. It washed what needed washing. It left me on the shore, smaller but cleaner, and with my face turned to the one who never leaves. If this story touched your heart, please follow Voices of Fatima, like the video, and share it with someone who needs strength tonight. If the truth in your home was this heavy, would you speak it in public or keep it private? Tell me in the comments. May Allah soften our hearts, make our endings clean, and fill our homes with truth and gentle light. Ameen.